The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Magic Bricks webinar, our endeavor to empower you with insights on the Indian real estate market performance and consumer sentiments on property prices in the next 6 months. The topic of today's session is Prices Rise in Mumbai, Pune. Rental Market Picks Up in Ahmedabad. And our guest speaker today is E. Jayashree Kuru. She is the head with content and research, Magic Bricks. Jayashree is involved with a number of global research initiatives and specializes in analyzing research data to provide usable solutions to users. She also works with business in using industry dialogues with senior management in her domains of expertise to generate content solutions that keep audience and industry engaged. She has been a business journalist for over 2 decades with the Times of India, the Economic Times, and the Financial Express. She writes extensively on real estate and infrastructure, city management, information technology, HR, and management. So, without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Jayashree.
Thank you, Aradhana. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Magic Bricks webinar. We base this on the prop index, the India Apartment Index. This time we are dealing with the Western region. So what is the prop index? It's a tool that provides detailed information on price movement, supply and user demand for multi-story apartments and single floors listed across cities. The operative thing is that this is the listed property that is listed on the website. We use the data from the backend to arrive at statistics. The prop index has a national property index trend, a city property index trend, a listed price monitor, a rent monitor, a yield meter, top preferred localities, demand and supply analytics, locality price range, and realty news. Now these are all tools that can help in your property buying decision. So what are the key findings in the Western region? In the West, the cities that we track in the prop index are Mumbai, Pune, and Ahmedabad. This quarter, the Mumbai city index rose by 4%, Pune and Ahmedabad rose by 1%. A positive quarter for the Western region. About 50% of demand was for 2 BHK units in Pune and Ahmedabad. 1 BHK was the most preferred in Mumbai. Obviously, price was the determining factor. All 3 cities posted a rise in rental values in over 50% of the tracked localities. Though the market has shown positive vibes, the buying cycle has not picked up steam yet. And therefore, when the buying cycle is slow, you find that rental markets become active. And that is what is clear in these markets. Ahmedabad posted the highest rental returns across the Western region of about 2.4 to 4.2%. 4.2 in India is considered very good. Mumbai, the city index rose by 4% and the listed price monitor rose by 3%. Clearly, the Mumbai buyer has decided not to sit on the fence anymore and start actively searching. Now, that is supply is also robust in the city, and therefore there is both supply and demand. However, there is a mismatch between supply and demand, and let me go on to that. The 1 BHK witnessed more demand than supply in the July to September quarter. Other categories remained oversupplied by 4 to 8%. So clearly, 1 BHK that is most in demand does not have the maximum supply. Kharghar, Kandivali East and Andheri West were the most active localities with maximum options of properties for sale. In Mumbai, whenever there is an infrastructure influx infused into the city, that's when you see certain areas moving up or down. Powai, Bandra West and Kandivali East offer the maximum options in the rental market. Properties worth 50 lakh to 1 crore recorded the maximum demand of 34% and supply fell short by 6%. So you see, while 1 BHK is in demand, the 50 lakh to 1 crore is the maximum demanded category, but supply is not there. There is an oversupply of 9% in the rupees 2 crore and above range, with a supply of 26% and a demand at 17%. 17% is a good demand for 2 crore and above, mind you. In absolute numbers, it's a good demand. However, supply is still more than the demand. The maximum supply was in the 1 to 2 crore range in Kandivali East, Andheri East, Goregaon East and Malad West in the western suburbs. Properties in the up to rupees 20 lakh category were available at Karjat, Neral and Kalyan East. This is a good trend. A city, if it can post affordable properties in the up to rupees 20 lakh category, wherever it is. And remember that Navi Mumbai areas are now connected by the Eastern Freeway, so it is easy to get into town from through a high-speed corridor. So having up to 20 lakh category houses in this region is good for the city. In Pune, the city index rose by 1% and the listed price monitor rose by 2%. Nearly 52% localities recorded a rise in rental value. A strong rental market, and when 52% localities record, it's not much, it's 1 to 9%. But the fact that it has been an evenly spread rise in rental values and not in 1 or 2 localities alone means that the city as a whole is moving towards the rent-based market. Capital values in and around IT hubs of Kharadi, Magarpata and Wakad moved up marginally 1 to 2%. IT has been a big driver of the Pune market. Therefore, IT hubs are doing well and there is a rise in capital values and rental values. Almost 49% of properties on sale are in the range of 5 to 7,000 per square foot. This is a high range. Affordable housing is slowly being erased out of the Pune market. You can see that as values go up, slowly the affordable corridor is only left in the MIDC corridor, Chakan and so on, where you will find that there is some amount of affordable housing there, but the rest of Pune is clearly stepping out of that bracket. IT-driven localities continue to be preferred for sale as well as rent, such as Wakad in the west and Kharadi in the east. Rupees 1 crore and above category was oversupplied by 9%. As in Mumbai, there is a demand for affordable housing, but the supply is still more than the demand. Demand matched supply in the 20 to 40 lakh and 60 lakh to 1 crore range. It's only in the up to 20 lakh category that demand has risen, but supply is not there. Over 85% of demand recorded for apartments, with the east and west zones recording the highest demand. Shirwal, Chakan, Urli, Kanchan and Saswad Road recorded the highest supply of properties priced up to rupees 20 lakh. This is not because there has been a conscious effort to create affordable housing or in line with the government policy. It is just that these areas are peripheral areas and they are early in their development cycles. Once the Make in India campaign catches steam and you find that manufacturing goes up, the chances of these areas growing is very high. Therefore, if anyone is interested in entering the Pune market as an investor, these are areas that you should consider because this has a good growth prospect. In Ahmedabad, the city index rose by 1% and the listed price monitor by 2%, which means there's not much difference. It's just a positive sentiment there. Rental values rose in over 80% of localities. That bodes very well for the city's market. That people, it means that the property markets have become active again. People are moving in. People are looking at rental properties. That is good for a city's property market. Maximum properties were available on rent in Satellite, Prahalad Nagar, Bokakdev, Bhopal and Vastrapur. 2 BHK was the most preferred category with 50% of the total demand. Supply fell short by about 11%. Again, the same thing, when smaller units, lower priced units are in demand, the developers are building in the upper ranges, and therefore in the lower ranges there is a shortfall in supply. Nearly 40% supply was noted for 3 BHK units, but the demand was only 34%. 3 BHK units are not the most preferred. 2 BHK are preferred, but the developers are building in the 3 BHK category. Maximum demand was recorded in the 40 to 70 lakh category, about 39%, and supply fell short by 12%. We have to move towards a situation where the developers start reading the market demand. Now, development is a long-term development, and therefore it is important to be able to read the future demand if you want to be able to create the right supply. South Bhopal, Vastrapur and Motera offered maximum options in the budget of 40 to 70 lakh. Maximum supply of properties priced over rupees 40 lakh were found near the commercial hubs of Prahlad Nagar and adjoining areas of Satellite and Bhopal. Now, why would you use the prop index? It benefits both the industry and the consumer. The industry, real estate developers, like I said, if you understand what the consumer preferences are in terms of the type of property, the sizes, the configurations, the budgets, the localities, the drivers, the developers will be able to construct in line with what consumer is demanding. For government offices and ministries of urban development, the supply and demand gaps are where government intervention is required. This is important in the real estate policy making, either in terms of taxation or in terms of any other boost, so that the supply and demand are in tandem. For construction organizations, you can forecast your demand and supply situation at the region and locality levels, because prop index is the only real estate index in the country today which goes down to the locality levels. And this is active data month on month, so it tells you what part of the market is currently trading, which means that which part of the market is active. In very, very positive cycles, you will find that the upper end of the market becomes the most active, and that is when both listings as well as demand will veer towards expensive properties. In slow market cycles like the present one, you will find that there is far more demand for smaller properties, lower priced properties, because the consumer has still not developed the propensity to spend so much. For consumers, it is important to understand the information and use that information before you make your decision to buy properties. You have to understand your localities and your cities better. Magic Bricks also has a section called advice.magicbricks.com, where in addition to prop index, you have a host of other parameters that you can use when making your property buying decisions. It gives an insight on real estate price movement at the locality level quarter on quarter. That helps you understand how the locality is performing and how the segment of the market that you're investing in or you're buying into has been performing quarter on quarter, year on year. You can understand the price movements. How to improve your financial status? If you understand that you spend a certain amount of money, and while you're waiting for leverage values to go up, you also get a regular rental return. It is important that you understand that you can lease out your property while you're waiting for, you're holding the property, because otherwise you will have to undertake the outflow in terms of taxation, in terms of municipal taxes, maintenance charges, water charges, electricity charges. All this kicks in once the property is ready and handed over to you. Very quickly, how is the prop index computed? It is based on listing of apartments and their capital and rental values on the website. It is on listed values. We do not track market transactions because there are many factors in determining the actual value and the declared value. Individual properties are aggregated into localities, weighted to cities, and then to the national index. The weightage is based on supply of properties within the locality and the city. Magic Bricks has over 700,000 active properties posted by more than 140,000 active users in 300 cities and 10,000 localities. That is a very large base from which we start. The information till date, we have 12 cities. We have been tracking 12 cities in the prop index, about 620 plus localities. Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, and Bangalore are the large metros. Pune, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, Coimbatore, Noida, Gurgaon, and Ghaziabad are the tier 1 cities. Capital and rental value trends are analyzed quarterly. The yield on investment is again analyzed quarterly. There's extensive user demand analytics. This helps understand where the shortfall is, where the consumers are looking for properties, and how to fix them. The demand versus supply statistics tells you whether you have a chance to negotiate in the market as a end user. If there is more supply and less demand, that is a market where the consumer can actually negotiate better rates. When there is lots of demand and little supply, that's the time when you go and take what is available, because there is very little scope of negotiation. We tell you the top preferred localities, the 10 preferred localities city-wise. This will help you understand whether you are going with the trend in the city. There's a home in your budget. Whatever your budget, there is a house waiting for you somewhere. It only requires you to go search that house. If your budget is smaller, you'll have to search a little more, and you'll have to be careful that the legality of the property is kept in mind. We give you real estate news snippets which tells you what's happening in the city in the quarter. This helps put in perspective how it impacts the property market. The policies are very, very critical in the real estate market. This time we have a special treat for you. Every Times property editor has given their perspective on the real estate market. You read the Times property every Friday and Saturday in your city. The editors have their ear to the ground. We thought it is important that we bring their perspective into the prop index so that you get an analysis of what they think is happening in the markets. Thank you. Over to you, Aradhana.
Thank you, Jayashree, for your insightful presentation. I hand over the session to Uma. Uma, can you take this forward?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Jayashree. Thanks, Aradhana. Hi, I'm Uma Sitaraman. I'm the lead researcher at IIM Bangalore Real Estate Research Initiative Center. And I'll be explaining the Housing Sentiment Index, why we came up with a sentiment index for the real estate markets, and also sharing some of the local analytics that we work on a quarterly basis. So first of all, what is this Housing Sentiment Index? So this is the first sentiment index, meaning if you look at the developed markets like the US and UK, you have quite a few indices which track say production capacity in the next 3 to 6 months, real estate in the next 3 to 6 months, and there's this methodology called diffusion index, which is very widely used, and its sole purpose is to capture the economic indicators. So you poll people, you take a survey of people, and based on the results of the survey, you get to know how the markets are going to perform. So in this case, this is the first time we are working on a sentiment index in the real estate market, and we've been doing this for the last 6 quarters in association with Magic Bricks. So Magic Bricks conducts a detailed survey across 10 cities, and then we work on the analytics and publish quarterly reports. So the diffusion index, its value can range anywhere from 0 to 200. So what 0 means is that all people
We have just got disconnected from the speaker. Please be online. We will reconnect again. Uma will join us shortly. Please be patient. Hello, Uma. Welcome back. Are you able to hear me?
Hey, yeah, I'm able to hear you, Aradhana.
Yes, please continue with the session.
Yeah, sure. Sorry for that interruption. So as I was saying, this diffusion index methodology is used very widely in the developed markets, and this is the first attempt in India to capture real estate sentiments. And we, in association with Magic Bricks, have come up with the sentiment index for 10 cities across India. Again, the values can range from 0 to 200, 0 meaning everyone thinks prices are going to fall, and 200 meaning everyone thinks prices are going to go up. And there's two things that we should be looking at. One is what is the level of the index for this quarter, and also the changes in the index quarter to quarter. So cities that exhibit continuous uptrend, cities exhibiting a continuous downtrend, so on. Those are kind of the interesting analysis that we work on. Moving on to the next slide. These are some of the major highlights for quarter 2. So the aggregate buyer housing sentiment index fell marginally to 114. So last quarter it was at 118. Similarly, we conduct a seller index also, which covers the sentiment of sellers, and that also was marginally down and ended up at 159. And as you can see, the seller index, at least we have seen in the last 3 to 4 quarters, seller index is a lot more bullish than the buyer index, and this is something that should be expected. And another thing to keep in mind is this is the first survey post-election results. So what happened last time was the survey happened just after election results where the majority government took over, and there was a lot of bullishness because of that. So we do see some settlement in sentiment this quarter across all cities. Coming to the specific cities that we are covering today, sentiment in Mumbai fell by 2%. Again, this is a very marginal decrease. And Mumbai has managed to retain positive sentiment at least in the last 3 quarters, because before that the real estate market in Mumbai was pretty down. Sentiments were very down and always before 100 when we started off. But the last 3 quarters it's managed to stay slightly above 100. Again, as you notice, this is very slightly above 100, meaning there is a very slight bullishness in the Mumbai market. Pune witnessed a 5% increase in sentiment and came in at 131. Now this is the highest sentiment among the 10 cities surveyed. So Pune seems to be in an uptrend in terms of real estate. Ahmedabad was a surprise this time, went up by 30%. So Ahmedabad was always below 100 all this while, and this is the first time it has risen to above 112 and rose by 30% in a quarter. Again, we think the Modi effect has got a lot to do with this, and also the actual development that has taken place in Ahmedabad. We have seen a lot of infrastructure developments. So there is, as Jayashree mentioned, a lot of interest in Ahmedabad. And considering that Modi comes from there, is also people are expecting that the city is going to get a lot of impetus in the future too. Moving on to the next slide. Just to share some analytics that we work on. Now this slide is based on the national markets. Just wanted to give you some snippets of the actual analytics we work on. If you look at the actual price range, 50% of respondents are looking for property below rupee 40 lakh. And this is something that we have to keep in mind. So the governments really need to push affordable housing, because there's a huge percentage that's looking for property at lower than 40 lakhs. And again, 19% of that 40% is looking for property below rupee 20 lakhs. So HSI for properties above rupees 1 crore, that is high-end properties, decreased by 4% this quarter, but only 7% of respondents were looking for property above 1 crore. So that's a very small percentage though. And again, the ones that are looking for above 5 crore, and that is predominantly in Mumbai and Gurgaon, dipped by 15% this time. In Gurgaon, 25% are looking for property above 1 crore. Now this is the highest among all cities. So Gurgaon has a lot of high-end properties, and there has been an uptrend in the Gurgaon property market in the last 1 year, making it actually inaccessible to quite a lot of people. And Calcutta, the other end, there's 35% of respondents looking for property below 20 lakhs, and that's the highest percentage in the below 20 lakh range, followed by Chennai at 22%. So 22% of people in Chennai are looking for property below 20 lakhs. 45% of those who want to buy property above 1 crore want to buy within the next 6 months, while 39% of those are looking to buy within rupees 20 lakhs, and they want to buy within the next 6 months. So there is quite a lot of people who actually want to close out the transaction in the near term, which is again a good sign for the property markets, because most developers are now struggling with huge inventories, and this festival season that just went by has not been as good as developers would like it to be. Moving on to city-specific analysis, coming to Mumbai, 34% of respondents are from western suburbs of Mumbai, and the HSI is slightly below 100. Central line Mumbai witnessed a decrease of 6% this time. So as you can see, all over Mumbai, the HSI is just above or just below the neutral line, meaning most people are, I think, on the whole, pretty neutral about the Mumbai market. HSI for those who are planning to buy property as an investment is 111, while those who are planning to buy as a place of residence is 103. Now again, this is a trend we have noticed across the 6 quarters that we have worked on this. When people plan to buy as an investment, their HSI always tends to be higher than when they plan to buy it for their own residence. 30 to 39-year-olds comprise 49% of the respondents in Mumbai, and this is closely followed by the 25 to 29-year-olds. And the ones above 50 years have been steadily pessimistic, so their HSI has never risen above 100 actually. 12% of respondents are female, and this is the maximum number of female respondents among all the cities surveyed. Now self-employed, that's a major composition in Mumbai. They comprise 17% of respondents, and their HSI came in a little below 100. While the IT sector is pretty bullish, and HSI for the IT sector is at 124. Moving on to Pune. Now Pune being strategically located and a very preferred city, its access to Mumbai, a lot of positives about Pune that actually make it a very preferred market. And there's been a lot of infrastructure developments, a lot of IT companies moving over, so there's quite a bit of action in Pune. And this is probably one of the reasons where it's steadily held up and actually came up as the highest city with the highest sentiment this quarter. 35% of respondents are from West Pune, and their HSI comes in at 130. That's pretty bullish. It increased by an 8%, and that is following the 9% increase in the previous quarter. 30% of respondents are from East Pune, and their HSI is 123. And 16% of respondents witnessed a 4% decrease in HSI, 142. That's the ones in North Pune. Now 63% cite financial reasons, while the rest of them say they are basing their property decisions on market conditions. So there's two groups. So there's one group which bases their property decisions based on their own financial conditions, whereas there are those who, like say market conditions are the predominant factor for their buying decisions and actually when they are going to make the actual purchase. 47% want to buy within the next 6 months. So again, this the ones who want to buy within the next 6 months is pretty healthy across all cities, while 30% can wait for a year or more. In Mumbai, in Pune, 76% prefer flats. So in Mumbai, it's over 90%, and looks like Pune also people prefer flats in general, and only 12% prefer land. But both the HSIs are way above 100. 32% of those who already live in their own house are looking to buy, and again this is assuming that this is going to be for an investment or moving to a bigger house. And 56% of respondents live in rented accommodation. Now this 56% is obviously a lot more desperate to look for a buy to get into their own house, and again that is a good sign for the housing market. Moving on to Ahmedabad. 30 to 39-year-olds comprise 41% of the respondents, and this is followed by the 25 to 29-year-olds who are pretty bullish. They're about 15%, but very bullish. 51% want to purchase property within the next 6 months, and 24% want to wait for a year or more. And again, the ones who want to buy within the next 6 months are again pretty bullish. HSI for those who are planning to buy property as an investment is 139, and those who are planning to buy as a residence is 103. So again, if you notice, those who are buying as an investment, the HSI comes in at a lot higher. 63% prefer flats, and 23% actually prefer villas in Ahmedabad. 33% of those who already live in their own house are looking to buy in Ahmedabad, and 47% live in rented accommodation, and another 20% live with parents or relatives. 42% of buyers are looking at properties that are less than 20 lakhs. So again, here there's a huge percentage that's looking for less than 20 lakhs. Moving on to the next slide and just sharing the sampling technique with you. We conduct a quarterly online survey across 10 cities. So Magic Bricks actually reaches out to their database and conducts a survey. A standard questionnaire is mailed out every quarter, and we collect the responses and we perform the analytics city by city and also on an aggregate basis and share it with you all. And this is done once a quarter, mostly at the end of the quarter. Survey happens at the end of every quarter. The last slide just gives you an idea of how the quarter-to-quarter comparison for each of these three cities has been. So Mumbai, there was a 2% decline in HSI, but HSI again maintaining at above 100. Whereas Pune and Ahmedabad are the only two cities out of the 10 cities which saw an increase this quarter, and Ahmedabad a huge increase of 30%. And this is also the first time in 6 quarters that all 10 cities ended up with positive HSI numbers. So this kind of gives us an indication that the markets are positive, but they're kind of waiting for things to happen, waiting for the new government to actually implement change, and then want to make their decisions based on this. And this is also evident in the wait period. So while the wait period has on the average been about 8 months, people are on the average ready to wait for about 8 months. It's kind of increased, and it's slightly over 9 months this quarter. And this is an indication which again shows the hesitance. People are just waiting for things to happen and then probably will make their decision. But again, they are all positive about the real estate markets as such. Thanks a lot to you all. Aradhana, I'll hand it over back to you.
Thank you, Uma. Thanks for sharing this insightful presentation with us. Let's quickly take up the questions now. I would request Jayashree to read out the questions and their answers so that all our users may listen to your insights.
Sure, Aradhana, thank you. Now let's get on to the questions. We've got Amit Mehta, who has said, I'm looking to buy a 2 BHK unit within rupees 10,000 monthly in Ahmedabad. Please advise me top 5 locations that offer connectivity and social infrastructure too. See, Amit, you have to decide. You're saying that every month your EMI should not be more than 10,000. That's the requirement you have, which means you are looking for a property that is roughly about 12 to 13 lakhs. Right now in the Ahmedabad market, I think you'll find it a little difficult. Do come on to the website. I'll tell you a good way to calculate this. What you're saying is that you have about 10,000 rupees per month as an EMI requirement. What you should do is work backwards. Do you have the 2 lakhs that you have to put as your part of the principal? Once if that is available, buy early into the cycle, so that because you have a small budget, it's better to buy early into the cycle. Also, when you're buying a property, especially for self-use, it is a good idea to stretch yourself a little more. If 10,000 is what you're comfortable with, remember that you're paying it over a period of 15 to 20 years, depending on your age. Now, if that is so, your salary also goes up accordingly. So you will be able to afford a little extra EMI in the late future. So you may want to work something like that with your bank so that you can get the best properties. Let me tell you the top localities that are preferred. We have Satellite, South Bhopal, SG Highway, Gota, Prahlad Nagar, Chamkheda, Taltej, Bodakdev and Science City as the top preferred localities. Now these localities, another thing that you can do is, nobody will be able to tell you which are the locations where you will be able to get good connectivity, because it depends on where you are traveling to. If you are working in a part of the city and you have to actually map your own route from where you work to where you stay. Go to MagicBricks advice section, advice.magicbricks.com, and you can actually check out the localities, the profiles. What are other people saying about those localities? We also help you understand what are the infrastructure and social infrastructure in those areas. We also do locality analysis if you go to content.magicbricks.com, we do a lot of analysis of individual localities. And this is an ongoing exercise that is constantly done by the editorial team in Magic Bricks. Once you identify the localities, then see whether it fits your budget. Go to the site, check out what are the properties that are available, and see whether you can find something that matches your budget. If you have any more questions, you're welcome to post another query basis what I've said. Let's go to the next question. Luxury in Ahmedabad. What is luxury in Ahmedabad? What is the mindset of consumers buying a luxury home in Ahmedabad? Are they looking for some specific type of property and amenities? This is Devashish Acharya. Devashish, I'll base my answer on the kind of activity that I see on the website. In the website, I find that rupees 1 crore and above, the supply is very robust. We have about 32% of the supply in the 1 crore and above. But the demand is not as high as the supply. There is a demand of about 19%. Now 19% demand is a good demand. But when people look for affordable, for luxury houses in Ahmedabad, they are looking at the location, they are looking at the social infrastructure, they are looking at the amenities that are offered, and I think the Ahmedabad city is veering towards apartments. The areas where there are homes in this budget are in Satellite, Prahalad Nagar, Bodakdev, Bhopal and Thaltej. I hope I've answered your question. If you have anything more, please do write in again. We'll be happy to address those queries. There is Sonali Jagtap who says, I have got the right project, but I'm unsure whether to wait because most of my colleagues are telling me that within a few months the prices might come down. What is your opinion? Sonali, everybody will always wait for prices to come down. Remember that we have, while prices have not actually gone up significantly, there are indications in the market that the consumers have become active. When consumers become active, they will wait for a cycle or two, after which they will start buying. Will the prices go down? I don't think so, because the Indian economy is going up. All the fundamentals of our economy are good. Why would prices fall? Normally, let's see why prices fall, and that will that way you'll be able to analyze it yourself. When the economy is not doing well, when people don't have any, or when there is a big uncertainty about the job scenario, that's when people stop buying houses because it's a very, very large investment. Currently, we are out of that cycle. There are more jobs in the market, the economy is looking up, political uncertainty is over, the country is working towards, today we are at a 5% economic growth, working towards an 8% economic growth. When this kind of growth happens, why would property prices drop? I think your advisors are advising you wrong. If you have found the right project and if you have found that it matches your budget, please go ahead and buy. You have this current static pricing is available for a window of only about 8 months. After that, you won't have more of this. Umar, please feel free to jump in at any point if you have anything to add, right?
Yeah, sure, Jayesh.
Okay, let's go on to the next question. There is Ranik Das who says, what research should I do before buying a second property? Except the budget, developer's repute and location, is there something more? Yes, Ranik, there is. I'll tell you how to look for, this is just how we figured out that people make the best decisions. First of all, figure out how much you want to invest. This is since you're not going to be staying in that property. You actually want figure out why you're investing in that property. There are some people who invest because they want the leveraged value to go up, and then they would like to sell. If you are going to buy and hold for a period of time, you have to determine the period of time. So then you would like to know how property values have performed in a quarter, in a year, and maybe even 2 to 3 years, so that you'll be able to figure out whether that locality is doing well. While the property itself may not be something, since if you're buying early into the cycle or a new property, you won't know how that project has done, but you will be able to figure out how that locality has been performing. Also figure out whether there are any infrastructure projects coming up. Mumbai is a classic example where every infrastructure project has changed the way the city lives and moves. The minute you give a connectivity, the metro in the Andheri area is a clear example. The minute there was one connectivity, certain areas of the city that were not doing well opened up. So if you are planning to invest, check out. That's why we give you the new snippets in Prop Index, because we feel that policy is a very big boost to real estate. The other thing that you should look at is the pricing. If you want to, once you've fixed your budget, go and see what properties are available within your budget. Look for the amenities. The amenities determine what is the rental value that you get once the project is complete. If you are looking at regular rental returns, which would help you pay off the EMI till you decide to sell the property as an investor, you must go for areas where there is rental demand. That means that it should be close to commercial corridors where people who live there would like to, people who work there would like to live close to the workplace. That's where rental demand is highest. If you get good rental demand, that also is a factor of how much supply there is in the market. Take the Noida market, for instance. We have a huge supply coming up in the next 3 to 5 years. Will the rental values rise in this region? I don't think so. But do you have steady rental demand? Yes. So if you want the house to be occupied and well looked after, and you're looking for a place where it's easy to lease out your property, look for a place like Noida. But if you are looking at a higher rental return, look for a place where the supply is not so high, so that you will be able to get a rising rental return. And then it is important to know when to enter the market. Maybe at launch when the prices are the lowest, if you want to hold it and see that there is a you pay a smaller EMI. There is also the provision of using the various subvention schemes that developers are offering, where you give about 10 to 20% and then pay only at possession. That protects you against delays, because you are only going to pay to the developer once the project is complete. There is also another option where you have a construction linked plan, so that you are paying for the project only as the construction progresses. That also protects you against delay in construction. But if you want rental return to kick in immediately, very soon, then buy into a project which is 6 months from completion or ready for possession. Then the minute you buy it, you will be able to lease out your property and get a regular rental return. Hope I've answered your question. These are some of the things. In case you have specific queries, do come to openhouse.magicbricks.com, post your query. We'll be happy to answer them. Let's get on to the next question. Hi, good afternoon. Looking for a plot in Bangalore in 12 lakhs budget. Can you suggest some property? I have shortlisted the projects like Nisarga developer project in Hoskote, Nambia developer project, Jigani, Living Pad developer project. Again, I would say that you obviously are doing your research, right? Now you have a very small budget, so you will have to look at peripheral areas where the values have not risen very high. You won't be able to get a lot of properties, but far away from the city you'll get lots. But remember, when you buy a plot, buy it from a developer, because as a small end user, you will not be able to protect your plot. These plots, if you buy from aggregators who don't give you the promise of looking after your property while you hold it, what will happen is you may end up with your plot being squatted on or not being able to look after it. So do be careful when you invest. I would rather, my advice to all small investors is, do invest in apartments by developers of repute, because that is the only way you can look after your property. While plot does give higher returns in the long term, plots are also far more difficult to manage, especially if they are not within the city limits. Suppose you buy in areas that are peripheral, do make sure that at least it is within the BDA master plan, because otherwise you will have a problem with your khatas and so on. Let's get on to the next question. I have Santosh E.T. saying that I am looking forward to buying a residential property in Pune, but I'm ignorant about the city's real estate. Should I approach a real estate agent? How to make a selection and knows about the credibility of the agent? Santosh, unfortunately in India, there is no rating of agents or developers. As a result, we don't know whether an agent is good or bad. There is no formal system. What most people do, as I can figure out with the activity on my site, is that people go to others who've had a good experience with an agent. Do ask around and see who are the agents who have been helping them, and always choose an agent from who has been recommended to you by somebody in the city. Because if somebody has been serviced well, chances are that that agent will be able to service you better. In case you don't have access to that, you can always come to Magicbricks and check out who are the developers, who are the agents who are working in the localities that you have shortlisted. But before you go to an agent, have you done your research? Have you checked out what you need? Start with a budget. What is your budget? You don't know the city's market, but you do know what your income status is. Start with a budget. Within that budget, then go to Magicbricks and check out what are the properties that you can get within your budget. That gives you a range of a spectrum of localities where you will be able to purchase. After that, go to the site and put your requirements. It gives you a set of options. Once you get the options, go with what you think are the best options for you in terms of size, in terms of price, in terms of amenities, in terms of the location, in terms of a lot of other factors that are given there. Now check on PropIndex how those localities have performed over the quarter, over the year. That will tell you how that locality has been performing. There are localities that are in the top 10 by supply, top 10 by demand. It will help you analyze how you should be looking for your property. Once you do all that, then when you go to an agent, preferably if the agent is recommended to you, if not, at least the agent who has declared on the site that he is working in a particular location. Once that agent is shortlisted, if you are armed with your facts, nobody can take you for a ride. Don't ever trust anyone to make your property decisions for you. I'll give you a small example. A very senior officer from the UN who has been traveling the world came down to India and decided to buy a property in the Delhi NCR. But she was going to buy a property that her brother's friend had bought into in the same project. Now her brother's friend may have had family there, may have had friends living there, may have a certain reason for going to a certain part of the city. But the UN official had no reason to go there, did not have any preference. That person should have done their own research and not relied on somebody else's research, which are determined by their requirements. Do your own research, find your own properties, and then go to the agent. Nobody will be able to take you for a ride. I hope I've been able to answer your question. Uma, would you like to say how the sentiment index can help here?
Yeah. See, the way it works, like Jayashree mentioned, it's always a good idea to first have your requirements ready and then look at the performance over time. So if you have any index you take, it tells you a lot about the way the markets have performed over a period of last 4 quarters, 5 quarters. And especially real estate, considering the fact that it's highly illiquid, right? And there's hardly any transparency, and that is the reason, like prop index, sentiment index, all of these are attempts to increase the transparency in the real estate index markets, considering that there's so much of, illiquidity around this, and it's very difficult to base your decision because it's each person's individual opinion and what he or she wants from markets. So what I would suggest is there are a bunch of indexes, take those and take a look at how they've performed over time and look at the micro markets. Are there any micro markets that are outstanding? Are there markets that are overheated? Like we gave you the example of Gurgaon, right? Do you think it's overheated? So if you're going to go and invest in overheated markets, maybe you won't get the returns, at least in the near term. Even if you do like the location. So these are some of the things you need to keep in mind and then base your decision out of both your own requirements and also the macroeconomic environment, and then decide. And again, real estate is not generally a short-term investment, right? So if you are actually planning it as a short-term investment, you need to be all the more careful.
Thanks, Uma. Let's take a query by Samir Kapadia, who says, I'm an investor from Delhi. I have a trading business in cities of Gujarat. I'm planning to invest in property here. However, confused between investing between Surat and Ahmedabad. Please advise where I should invest and buy. Samir, you have to actually decide on the city first. And I'll tell you how you can look at it. The housing sentiment index has shown a huge rise in sentiment in Ahmedabad. Clearly, with Mr. Modi being the Prime Minister, coming from Ahmedabad, there is a lot of positivity in the Ahmedabad market. But that is true for other Gujarat markets as well. So while Surat is not tracked regularly on the prop index, what I can tell you is what you're asking is, should I buy in a bigger city or should I go to a smaller city? In bigger cities, these are more managed real estate markets, bigger real estate markets, and the developers have there is a track record to check. That's not to say that Surat developers don't have a track record. If you go into a smaller market, the chances of finding information become more difficult because you will have to rely on the local networks. You will have to do a lot more research, but first decide which is the city you spend more time in. If that helps, then you will be able to figure out which is the city that you should be investing in. Investing in Ahmedabad, there is form and structure to the market. It is a clean market, so you will be able to figure out how you can manage your property. You will also be able to get a good rental return. A lot of investors that I know who went into smaller markets, thinking that the property values were lower, also get lower rental returns. So effectively, while you're holding your property till you sell it off, you will not get the kind of appreciation, the appreciation over the 5-year period or 8-year period that you plan to hold, and that you get in the market. Also, your rental returns will be lower. This is probably one of the ways you can look at, but like I've been saying, do your research very carefully before you invest in the market. We have another question from Ahmedabad. There's Mehul Satani who said, I have a 2 BHK flat in Ashram Road and it is one of proposed metro stations in the upcoming Phase 1 Ahmedabad metro stretch. Should I increase the rental amount now or must wait for the construction to start? Mehul, I have been talking about the metro in my previous webinars as well, and let me give a small perspective about the metro. When a metro is announced, there is some rise in sentiment in that area, and you will see a small rise in values. But when the metro is being constructed, you will find that it is a very tedious and disruptive process for the next few years. 2 to 3 years, there is a lot of disruption, and close to completion, there is even more disruption. It is a difficult time to stay in that locality. As a result, while capital values don't take a beating, rental values take a beating. If you go and ask your tenant to pay more because the metro is coming, I doubt if he would agree to enhance the rental value. What you can do is you have to wait till the metro is more or less in the final stages of completion, about 6 months to a year from completion, when the pillars are up, when the test rides are on. That is the time when you should be pushing up your rental values. Otherwise, I doubt if the tenants will agree to pay more. There is a query here. I want to rent an apartment within Ahmedabad. My budget for rent is 15,000 monthly. Can I get a 3 BHK unit, which is kind of not possible in markets such as Delhi and Mumbai? If you are looking for rent in Ahmedabad, do not compare Ahmedabad to Delhi and Mumbai. Ahmedabad is a much smaller market and its drivers are different. And when you look for rent, you have to check why you're looking for an apartment in that city. Are you living in the city? Are you working in the city? If you're working there, you have to look at which part of the city you're living in. Within 15,000, you should be able to get lots of apartments, but do go to the site. Do check out, put 15,000 as your requirement, and check out what are the options that you get. Sitting here, I might be able to give you a macro perspective, but you have a micro requirement. Do your own research, and if you run into problems, do come back to us. We'd be happy to help you. There are a couple of questions where people are asking, could you please advise me on where to invest in Pune? I have, this is Abdul Ghaffar Mujawar. His budget is 40 to 60 lakh and would like to have a society living with all modern amenities. I am assuming, Abdul, that you want to stay in the apartment, and you have given Wakad, Rawet, and Hinjewadi as your preferred localities. In the 40 to 60 lakh budget, you can get houses in Wagoli, Wakad, Hadapsar, Danori, Poonawalla, and Rawet. So two out of three of your choices. We do have options. Do come to the site and check out. You will be able to get properties. I'll take the last question for the day. We've done this. There is no government developed projects in Pune. So how do I know if a gated community land is safe and cannot be taken over by the government later on, says Paresh Parekh. This is the last query for the day, and let me tell you, Paresh, this is a very valid question and a good question to ask. There are 2-3 things that you must look at. I'm assuming that you're looking at a plotted development, which is why you want to know whether you should buy land there. When you're buying a plotted development, the risks are very high. Therefore, it is important to buy in the within the city's master planned area. When you go to a developer and ask for a plot of land, do check the titles of the land. Do ensure that the sale deed that you execute is in your own name. Ask around, talk to various agents in the locality. They'll be able to advise you what is the status of the property in terms of the legality of the property. When you're buying a plot of land in Pune, it is very important that you buy one in the master planned areas and two from credible, well-known developers. 3, also make sure that your sale deed is well executed. Read the fine print, get a due diligence done. If need be, ask a bank whether they will be able to do it for you, because bankers do their due diligence very well. Thank you for participating in the Magic Bricks webinar. Thanks, Uma, and thank you, Aradhana. Over to you.
And I'm really thankful to our guest speakers today for conducting this informative webinar with us. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Jayashree. Thank you, Uma, for having us. I hope you have a great day ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.